Well, there's only one undefeated team left in the Premier League. Let's get into it and find out who it is. This is Red Card Radio. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're listening from. Thanks for tuning in. Red Card Radio is a weekly look at the Premier League from some number of friends who support different clubs. This is the North London edition of Red Card Radio. My name is James. I support Arsenal. With me tonight is Sean. He supports Tottenham. Hello, Sean. How are you? Good day.
Oh.
What's up?
Yeah. How are you?
I'm
good, man.
My cat also decided to literally 10 seconds after we hit record decide to come into the room and start screaming as he normally does. So he's here as well.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So
your cat was saying hello.
Yes.
Feels like a prerequisite.
Every week.
Yeah. So you threw that at me that there's only one undefeated team, and I had to look and see which was the other. And I did not even realize that.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
There were only two coming into this weekend. It was Manchester City and Arsenal. And no, they did not play each other because they did that about 5 weeks ago.
Nope. That is incorrect. The only two undefeateds coming into this week were Liverpool and Brentford.
What are you talking? You're looking at the table wrong, bro. It was City and Arsenal.
I am looking at it wrong. You are correct.
Yep. It's okay.
I am not reading.
Yeah. So,
I was looking at the column that has D above it, which is darn defeats, obviously.
Yes, exactly.
Clearly D stands for defeat.
Yep, absolutely. All right, before we reveal to you who is the team that lost, get into the hit that subscribe button, ring the sub notification bell if you're on YouTube. If you're on one of the podcast sites, hit it with a follow, 5-star review, whatever your platform so allows, all that good stuff. Brad is not with us on this episode. He might make an appearance later this week. So you'll have to check back in on Friday for our preview episode to see if Brad finds his way into this amalgamation. We did have one comment, one request from Jake. He's asking that we bring the chapters back for the videos. That's something I used to do, but got lazy. I think Jake, we can work on that. We will do our best to get those back in so that it's a little bit easier to navigate the videos.
I think it's easy. We just put the intern back on it.
Yeah.
Letting the intern slide a little bit, and it's time to rein him back in. The intern back in.
Absolutely. So, without further ado, I think we need to talk about some football. I have the unhappy, I don't know, like task of talking about the fact that Arsenal lost this weekend. Arsenal lost to Bournemouth away from home. Arsenal lost 2-0.
Yeah, I was able to watch the game post fact. You guys didn't look good before the red. Did you get the same? Did you get the same feel that you looked either lackadaisical or it was unmotivated? Or I don't think you're unmotivated, but it was uninspired for sure.
We were definitely out of sorts. That is without a doubt true. We were, so it's easy to be like, for me to be like, oh, well, we're missing players, which I do think contributed to it. I think missing both Odegaard.
I want to add on to.
Sure.
Go ahead.
No.
I wanted to add on to that. Last year, I tried to make it a point to not make excuses for missing players, but there are times, I'm going to back you up on this one. There are times that it is a reason, not an excuse. Sometimes injuries are a reason that you don't play well.
Absolutely.
And they're backups for a reason.
Yeah.
So it's not as good.
I think the fact that we are missing both Odegaard and Saka really does hinder our creativity, and I think that's what we were missing, is that we were uncreative. We didn't look like we were of much threat going forward. Tamzid pointed out to me before and to Twitter before the game started that we rocked up with 4 center backs and 3 defensive midfielders. And so that doesn't seem like it's a recipe for free-flowing, conducive, fun-watching football. And so I don't think that suited us to begin with. And so I think we were, and I don't want to say set up poorly to begin with because I am not Mikel Arteta, but it was questionable and we didn't play well for the first 30 minutes. And then of course the red card for Saliba on 30 minutes changes the game entirely and makes it so much more difficult.
Before we discuss that red card, because that's going to take some time, I'm sure. I feel like the creativity was attempted to be addressed by playing Trossard instead of Martinelli. That is your more naturally creative. But the problem that I noticed, and I don't know if you noticed this, but it seemed like the buildup was going more through Sterling rather than going through Trossard, which is counterintuitive if you're putting Trossard on to be your creative element.
Yeah, so Trossard, Martinelli picked up a small injury over the international break that prohibited him from playing 90 minutes. And so that's why Trossard started. It was strange. I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, I agree with you. A lot of it was going through Sterling on the right-hand side, but we tend to predominantly focus our attacks on the right side. We tend to counter more on the left. Like, so Martinelli is the faster attacker compared to Saka. And so a lot of our counterattacks happen through Martinelli. But yeah, most of our build-up play comes from the right side because of Saka, and he's so good with the ball. He's so deadly with the ball. But yeah, so it was trying to go through Sterling, and like that didn't. The problem is we didn't get to see that breathe because Sterling was the player that was sacrificed to bring Kivior on once Saliba got his red card. So yeah, I agree with you. And to your point about Trossard being the more creative player. In the last few weeks before the international break, when Odegaard was out injured, Martinelli would start on the left and Trossard was actually in the midfield. And so Trossard was kind of more of that midfield player, a replacement for Odegaard. And also it helped that Mikel Merino wasn't yet fully fit, and so he couldn't play. But yeah, like Arteta had Merino like almost playing as like an attacking midfielder, which seemed... we'll have to see that again before I'm able to pass judgment. But to get to the red card, I don't think it's going to take very long to discuss it all. Yeah, it's a red card. I think Saliba is the last defender. He pulls the guy down, and yeah, it was a terrible back pass from Trossard. It was a hospital pass. It left Saliba on an island, and Saliba took the guy out, and it was really, really foolish. And it was a red card.
My initial reaction was Evan Ilson was behind him, but I didn't realize initially that it comes off an Arsenal player. It's a back pass, so it doesn't matter where the Bournemouth player is.
Yeah,
but that was my initial reaction of like he's offsides. It doesn't matter. But yeah, But then I guess the argument was, do you think Ben White? This is the only argument in it. Could Ben White have made a play? Is it an obvious goal scoring opportunity?
Well, there's a different layer here that I think we need to address slightly because it was adjudicated to be a yellow card on the field. VAR is the one that told Kavanaugh, I think it was Kavanaugh, maybe it wasn't Kavanaugh, whoever the main referee was, to go. I know the VAR was Jared Gillette. I know that for a fact. And there's
was Jones on the field.
Well, Rob Jones, yeah, okay. So Jared Gillette, which is humorous anecdotally because apparently he's a Liverpool supporter and Arsenal play Liverpool next week. But and that's where all the Arsenal fans, their tinfoil hats are coming from. But so on the field it was a yellow card. And it was kind of like,
you want to talk about tinfoil hat? I just freshly watched the broadcast.
Yeah.
On the broadcast, by the way, mind you.
Yeah.
Yellow is shown. There's some waiting about. Rob Jones is figuring out if there's going to be a VAR. He's just kind of stalling a little bit. Camera goes to the crowd. It's Howard Webb. And they mention, there's the man of the hour himself. This is the guy that makes all the they kind of mention something about Howard Webb's job. The entire time, Howard Webb is texting.
Yeah. And he has an
Who do you
earpiece.
think he was sexting?
He has an earpiece in that you can see that he's listening. Apparently he could listen to the refs and the VAR.
Make this a red.
Yeah, he's listening apparently to the referee conversation and then texting at the same time, and you're just like, this is a terrible look. But
tinfoil helmet on.
I'm not mad about the red card because it probably is a red card, and so like I'm not super mad about it. I do have frustrations about the red card that I'll bring up when we talk about the Liverpool-Chelsea game, because there's a very, very similar play, almost identical play, that is only a yellow card. And so like there's some head scratching there.
I've got one more question before, and we can just move on to Liverpool-Chelsea.
Yeah.
Do you think the penalty was correct?
Yeah. I mean,
it looked like it to me too.
I mean,
he goes to ground, it gets it wrong. He gets the legs with his body.
Yeah.
I don't know if he got a yellow, but it probably was. He goes down, he goes to ground and gets it wrong.
I'm pretty sure as long as he's trying to play the ball, because it's a penalty, it's just a penalty and not a yellow card.
He definitely was. There was no ill intent in what he did.
Sure.
He just got it wrong, and his stomach goes into the legs.
Yeah,
because he's trying to. Yeah, I thought it was a penalty too.
Arsenal played really poorly before the red card. We played decently after the red card. Martinelli had an opportunity to take the lead once he came on as a substitute, and kind of hit it right at Kepa. He probably should have done better there, because if Arsenal score that, then you would, I assume that we're just going to go into that very nasty, 9-man block that we did against City, and it's going to be disgusting, and everyone's going to complain about it. But who cares? And so that's what I assumed we would have done. And so Martinelli should have buried that. We should have scored. We should have gone up 1-0, and then that's our own doing. But I don't think Arsenal fans, we played poorly before the red card, and then got a red card and lost the game. Like, I don't know. Like, yes, I'm frustrated that we lost the game. We didn't play well, which is annoying. We have injuries, which is annoying. But like, this is football. Like I don't think we have that much to complain about as it pertains to us. And so, what we do have cause to complain about is the fact that
is the Chelsea game.
Is in the Liverpool game, Liverpool-Chelsea, 6 minutes into this match, I think if you look at it's like 23 hours later, roughly 23 hours later, basically the same thing happens. Ball over the top. The Chelsea defender just takes out Jota, and it's just a yellow card. I don't know if there was a VAR.
It was actually,
I'm sure there was a VAR
as it pertains to a foul.
A recommendation to look at the monitor, at least. So
as it pertains to a foul, at least Saliba's was a professional foul. It was a tug at the hips. It was a come on, dude. The Tosin one was just a foul. He just runs over the guy. He just runs over Jota. Yeah. It was more of a foul, like a physical foul.
And so like we look at this, and I saw Tamzid had written something in our Discord, and I was like, I don't know what was pertaining to. And there was some conversation in our Discord that people thought the foul was slightly different. I think Jimmy was saying that it looked slightly different or something like that. But I'm just like, when I watched it, I'm just like, this is the same play. And so, I don't want this. The problem is like I'm about to go into a diatribe about VAR and about the PGMOL, and I don't want that to be the takeaway from all of this. But there is a significant issue when the reason why VAR was introduced into the game was to eliminate the controversy like this that we're talking about. Like in the past, this used to happen where you'd have one play reffed one way, one game, and the very next day, a very similar play would be reffed differently. And that's because there were different referees, and they are subjective decisions. And the referee and the linesmen are making subjective decisions about this play in the context of that game. But now we in theory have this like video assistant overlord who my understanding is to help eliminate the subjectivity and or the controversy around it. Like, I'm okay if there's no review on it and you have two different decisions for two different plays that look similar, like, because they're subjective decisions. But my issue with it is that you have one ref who made a decision and was told by the VAR to go look at it, to that his subjective decision was clearly and obviously wrong. But then the very next day, you have essentially the same play. It's reffed essentially the same way because it's given as a yellow card, and the VAR doesn't intervene to say that it was clearly and obviously an error. So was the first one, was the one in the Arsenal game so much more clearly and obviously wrong? Was Rob Jones's decision so subjectively, clearly and obviously wrong as compared to the decision that was made in the Liverpool and Chelsea game? And I don't think any reasonable or rational human being can look at that and be like, oh yes, like obviously that one is significantly wrong comparatively.
The only thing that I could say that makes it slightly different is that Gusto is right there. Gusto is close enough to make a play almost immediately after the takedown. Whereas Ben White is significantly, maybe about 10 to 15 yards away and tracking back. He's got to get on a good angle to be able to cut it off. So it's harder to say if Ben White had a play on it. He might have. He's a pretty rapid player.
Yeah.
But Gusto was right there.
Sure. But
when the play was made. That's the only argument I have on behalf of the refs.
Sure.
That it was.
But do you get my point? Do you get my point?
Yeah.
Is it that VAR really was meant to help eliminate the controversy, and it hasn't done that?
I think I've just solved it. I think I just figured it out live on Red Car Radio.
Thank goodness.
Nobody's doing content like this. I have just solved Premier League refereeing.
Heck yeah, let's go.
At least the controversy side. So VAR is starting only allowed to intervene on offsides and goal line technology. The rest of the subjective decisions, because those are the only objective calls, right?
Yep.
Is the man offsides? Did the ball cross the line?
Yeah.
Those are yes or no questions.
Yep.
Other than that, there's no VAR intervention. We're going back to the Stone Age because y'all can't get it right. We can't have nice things. Like, we're going back to the Stone Age.
And I think we would rather, I think I would personally I've been watching the Premier League for close to 20 years now. And like, decisions 15 years ago annoyed me. But it was just kind of like, yeah, that's the nature of sport, is that like referees make decisions and you have to live with it, right? Like, we grew up playing sports and we're always taught once the referee or the umpire makes a decision, you move on with your life. You might be mad, you might be frustrated, but you move on with your life because you can't change their decision, right? But now they can change their decision and it's still as controversial. And it's just like, I thought we were supposed to get rid of this controversial frustration, and we're not. We're just increasing it.
Yeah, it's infuriating.
Like, we don't know what a red card is anymore. We don't know what a handball is anymore. We don't know what a penalty is anymore. We can't define these things anymore because like they're changing so rapidly. And like, I think one of the bigger issues is you have like the corporate media around the Premier League. Like, they go out there and they pontificate for the referees, and they make up for them on Sky and on NBC, and like all of these talking heads go out there and they have Howard Webb on the podcast with Gary Neville and Ian Wright and Roy Keane, and like he's up and they're like chumming it up, and it's just like, why can't we hold this body to a higher standard? Like, why are we not expecting greatness? We expect greatness out of the players. We claim that we support the best league in the world, that the Premier League is the best brand of football in the world. But I don't think anyone would ever argue that the Premier League referees are the best brand of referees in the world. So why aren't the referees and the PGMOL held to the same standard?
Yeah, it's a very valid point.
Let us know what you guys think in the comments about this topic. But I said I don't want to get on a diatribe. Liverpool and Chelsea played it was a really fun game. Chelsea played really stoutly against Liverpool, and Liverpool got the victory. They win 2-1, but I mean, like, this Chelsea team isn't a slouch. Like, they're a decent side.
Yeah, yeah, they're going to be tough. They're going to be a tough out. I mean, and we're almost to where the matches count, right? Or the table counts.
Almost.
And they're right. Almost. And in 2 weeks, I have no doubt they're going to be right where they think they should be. They're going to be right in the mix where they think they should be.
Yeah.
Even after taking the loss at the weekend, they're going to be right where they think they want to be.
Absolutely.
Challenging for.
Now they've got a tough run coming up, so they've got a lot of games. I mean, but like, every game is tough in the Premier League. So,
yeah.
What do you think about this Manchester City 95th minute winner against Wolves? Did you see this?
I wasn't able to catch up on that one, but that is shocking.
So
that it took that long.
Well, there's some controversy around that one too, because there was the Bernardo Silva. So it's a corner, and Bernardo Silva is doing the Ben White, where he goes and he like runs into the keeper at first, into like just kind of jostle him a little bit, and then he kind of pops off him, right? So on the initial kick of the ball, obviously Bernardo Silva can't be offside, because you can't be offside on a corner. But then when John Stones heads the ball, Bernardo Silva's in an offside position, and like less than a quarter of a second earlier, he was barging into the keeper. And so John Stone heads the ball, and Bernardo Silva's not in the vision of Jose Sa, but initially Bernardo Silva is adjudicated to be offside, and they chalked the goal off at first, and then VAR went back and they awarded the goal. And Gary O'Neill afterwards, his biggest takeaway was that, like, if this was any other team than Manchester City, do you think that goal would have been given? And that's all he was really saying. And it's, it's kind of a head scratcher, because you look at that and you're kind of like, I don't know. I mean, Arsenal have certainly gotten away. Like, and this is rich coming from the Arsenal fan, because Arsenal have traditionally over the last 2 years gotten away with a lot of corner shenanigans. I readily admit that.
Yeah.
But we've also
Arsenal just proved that they're not going to call it. So if they're not, I said this last year, especially after the Arsenal Tottenham game, where Ben White was messing with Vicario so much. If they're not going to call it, do it.
Yeah.
Like, then that's on our set piece coach to be like, okay, we need Romero just pushing around the other goalkeeper every time we got a corner. If they're not going to call it, do it.
And I mean, like, we have had goals disallowed for it before. Like, so don't like I remember very vividly I think it was last year, Trossard had a worldie of a goal that was chalked off because Ben White was adjudged to have been fouling the goalkeeper or something like that. So like, we've had our fair share disallowed as well, but we've also gotten away with a lot. But I think that's kind of like, it seems like, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe Manchester City fans should get into the comments and tell me that I'm just biased, but it seems to me, it feels like City, when the chips are down, Rodri doesn't get called for a handball in the box against Villa. When, a couple years ago, and they go on to win the league by 2 points or something like that. Or, like, there's just little things, and it's just like, man, like they are traditionally, it seems, very, very fortunate in the long run that, and it's only a couple points here or there. It's only a couple points. And, last year, I think it was 2 points that separated the league. And so like, and traditionally with like in their years with Liverpool, it was like 2 points or 4 points or something like that. Like it's not a lot. Yeah. It's not a lot that separates winning from losing.
99. It was 99 to 98. And what was that, 19 or 20?
Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. 19, yeah. Yeah. Because that was, whichever year it was the highest scoring second place team ever.
Could you imagine getting greater than 95 points and not winning the league? That's unfathomable.
I'd be furious.
It's unfathomable. And I have so much sympathy for Jurgen Klopp and all Liverpool supporters about that. It's unfathomable. Sean, how did we get 25
Speaking of
minutes?
fun stuff,
How did we get 25 minutes into this podcast without you bragging on your boy, Big Ange?
Big Ange came through in the clutch. All the goals were scored before the red card. I do believe too. So
Yeah, no
the
shenanigans.
red card. There was a red card, but it did not play. I do need to bring up. I'm coming with facts today.
Oh, yeah. Unlike the other days. Got it.
Straight
Cool.
facts. Coming with straight facts, homie. James Madison is in the 99th percentile in goal creating actions, 96th in assists, 96th in shot creating actions. That's big. Kulusevski is in the 99th percentile in progressive carries and 96th in touches in the attacking penalty box and 96th in and also 99th percentile in shot creating actions. We are that midfield pairing, ironically, should be the best. And it's ironic because we only scored a plethora of goals after Madison was subbed off and put on for SAR. Yeah, and so what I've noticed is in regards to the game specifically is when we play up the wings, it is a lot harder for us if we're not getting if the press isn't breaking the other team and we're getting breakthrough goals, which is where a large amount of our goals come from. If we're doing a build up, going up the wings and crossing it in has not been successful so far, at least this season. However, against Manchester United and against West Ham, now they are chances created, James. I'm not saying that these are bad chances or we're not getting chances. It just we're not converting them.
Well, my point would be that you don't have the center forward that thrive. You don't have Chris Wood, right? You don't have a center forward that's thriving off crosses.
We got Solanke, but I don't think that's his style. He is tall, but his is link up play. He likes to work it. He likes the 1-2.
Exactly.
Kind of like Kane-esque. He's a little Kane-ish in that, where he'd prefer to 1-2 it off the box. He's got the back to goal, but he wants to pass off and then go around the other side. Anyways, but what I've noticed about Kulusevski being in the middle of the field is Kulusevski is really good on the half turn.
Yeah,
like really, really good. And that has been the difference where the passes coming out of the back are going to Madison, who is also good on the half turn, or it's going to Kulusevski, and we're making turns and we're in the middle of the field deciding where we want to pass it to. With a back line and some attackers that are getting forward. So that's been the difference in our wins and in what we were doing in Brighton before the second half and what we were doing at United. So I think that's where the focus needs to be. Is we just need to play through the middle. If our midfield's going to play that well, we just need to find somebody on the roster that has a defensive midfielding bone in their body, a midfielder that would like to play defense just generally,
even just once.
And maybe we'll take the Arsenal tact and we'll just sign a center back and put him up there. Like just put center backs everywhere. Whatever. That's what y'all do.
Yeah, we're very good at it. So. But yeah, I think you jokingly said in our text thread, Ange gets his first win against a big London opponent or something like that.
That was his first win against. I'd say it's not first win against a London opponent because we've beaten Fulham, we've beaten Palace, and we've beaten Brentford. Those are
you're disrespecting
of the big
them.
four. Yes, I am disrespecting them. Of the big four. And this is being extremely generous to West Ham.
Yes, it is.
Extremely. Of those four teams, this is the first time we beat any of them. So under Ange.
Are you basing that off just like number of seats in the stadium? Like obviously West Ham have to be considered one of the big four in London because they have a 60,000 seat stadium.
To give them credit, I have to base it on the fact that they've been in the Premier League from the beginning and have not gotten relegated.
True.
So Palace have, Fulham have, Brentford just came up recently. So I've got to give credit to West Ham. They've been in it since '92. They they
Yeah.
get credit for that. They have not gotten relegated. I don't believe, right? No. I don't think I'm misremembering that. West Ham have been up since the beginning, right?
I'm fairly certain that at least for as long as I've been watching, West Ham have been in the league. West Ham have not been relegated in the close to 20 years that I've been watching. I don't
I don't remember them being close either.
I don't make any claims about them in the 90s. I'm not sure. So I just don't know. We need Joel for that. So that's all we got for this episode. Obviously, we didn't get to that Newcastle Brighton game, which is kind of an impressive result for Brighton away from home, up at St. James's Park. And so
all I'm saying is Brighton is hard to beat. Brighton is hard to beat.
Yeah, that Brightford team. That Brightford team. Yeah, something like that.
Brightford, whatever their name is.
Hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you guys think. We will be back on Friday with a preview episode. Again, you might see Brad there. I'm not sure. Let us know what you guys think. Join our Discord. It's in the description of this video or podcast. That guy over there at Whiteheart_Sean. I am at James Tiffany. Collectively, we are at redcard_radio. And we will be back later this week for a preview. Until then, I hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy the Champions League, the Europa League, the Conference League, whatever you're watching, and we will be back Friday. Have a good one.